Următorul invitat obișnuia să urce pe scenă spre finalul conferinței și era mereu un motiv de bucurie pentru noi, fiindcă creștea așa energia în sală. De această dată vine ceva mai devreme pe scenă. Doamnelor și domnilor, Peter de Boer, manager relația cu investitorii, DNA Agrar, cea mai mare fermă zootehnică integrată din România. Peter, please, the scene is yours.
Do I have how I can move the slides? So thank you very much, for the introduction, and I'm glad. Good evening, first of all. I'm glad to be back here at the quarterly event. Let me see how this works. Yeah. So, of course, last night we published our Q3 results. Still, for maybe there are still some people who don't know us, so I will quickly go to a short explanation of the DNR company, then we go to our financial results, and then I really would like to explain a bit more about our two new projects. One is the Compost, and of course our new agreement with Black Sea Oil and Gas, our largest signed deal so far in the history of DNR Agrar for the biomethane production. So let's first say, at the moment we are the largest milk producer in Romania. We have almost almost 300 employees. We have over, we have we work 7,000 hectares in the group, 3,000 hectares outside of the group. We produce approximately at the moment over 170,000 liters per day. Soon we will reach 200,000 liters per day of milk production, and we have a doubling strategy for the end of 2027 when we will produce approximately 300,000 liters per day, and the year after means 2028 we will produce over 100 million of liters on an annual basis, and it will bring us to the largest milk producer in all of the EU, including the UK. Mainly we perform circular agriculture, which means that the main food that we produce for our animals, we produce ourselves. The only crop this year that we really sold outside of the group was the sunflower crop, and the rest remains in the group. As well as with the manure that our cows produce, we fertilize our soil, and through this we perform circular agriculture, and we can reduce chemical fertilizers. We are now almost 3 years listed on the stock market of the Bucharest Stock Exchange, and we have shown some significant growth so far. As I said already, we have a strategy by doubling our business by the end of 2027, and the target for 2028 is a production of over 100 million liters per year. We are located in Alba County, Sibiu County, and Hunedoara County for the moment. This year the target is 60 million liters, and we will reach that. We are clearly on track on that. By the end of the year we will even produce a little bit more than the 60 million liters estimated. So how we look today? Today we have 4 farms in our group. That's the Apold farm, the Lacto farm, the Kut farm, and the Prodlac farm, which is our Youngstock farm. It speaks more or less for itself. At the Apold farm we milk 400 cows per hour. In general we milk our animals 3 times per day on each farm. And then if we look to the financials that we published yesterday, they're more or less stable for this year. We saw an increase in our turnover, which was quite stable for the last period. The main effect for the increase in turnover of 9% was the increase of 14% of milk delivered this year. We saw a small decline in the net profit. That mainly is due to the depreciation. We had 20% extra depreciation. That's mainly due to the fact that we had a re-evaluation. Every 3 years we re-evaluate our intangible and tangible assets, and those increase, so we have a higher, and the period of depreciation of course doesn't increase, so we had a higher depreciation, as well as that we had more animals, heifers in this case, who came into production, so to milking cows, and also from then when they start to produce milk you also start to depreciate on them. Then I quickly go on. Here you see the milk production. We have a 14% increase so far, and then I would like to go to the plants because the timer is going on. So this year also we invested further in precision agriculture. That means that we have drones where we can pesticide or herbicide just 10 hectares in a parcel of 500 hectares. Of course, this helps with huge cost reductions where we don't need to send machinery anymore to the field, because normally we cannot send for 10, 20 or 50 hectares a tractor to the fields when you have 10,000 hectares. But you send a drone and you can just do really precision. So that reduces cost, and it's also better for the climate, of course, and the environment. Next to that, we purchased new machinery as well this year that can fertilize and sow in the same procedure. So they can fertilize and sow simultaneously, which means a reduction of 40% of seeding cost, as well as better soil health, because you don't need to send 2 times your machinery on the fields. And of course, we work now almost all our hectares with no-till or low-till technology. That means that you don't plow anymore your soil, and that is better for the biodiversity for the fields. As I said already, we have our clear strategy that is over 300,000 liters per day. That will be on 4 farms. Currently we are constructing our newest farm, the Stragia farm. We are a little bit delayed there, but we expect in the beginning of 2025 that we really can start to milk there. We have already stabled finished for 1,120 animals. In the end we will have there approx 5,000 animals. And currently we are constructing the first milking rotor, and that will be finalized by the end of December. And then we will have a herd of approx 20,000 animals. And always a question that pops up many times is, Peter, or to the Enagvar, could you not further diversify your clients, especially on the milk part? As the milk industry, especially the processing industry in Romania, is heavily consolidated, it's not easy to diversify significantly your clientele. But we have a clear differentiation strategy from now on. As I said, we just finished our compost plant, where we will produce 7,000 of tons of organic fertilizer per year. That will mean a new income stream. At the moment, the market prices in Romania for organic fertilizer are approximately between 230 and 300 euros per ton, and the production costs are around 50 euros, so there's quite a good profit margin over there. First we will, with the compost, first we will certify it as organic fertilizer in Romania, and later also in the EU. So that's a new business line. And then of course the contract that we signed with Black Sea Oil and Gas, where we will produce biomethane. That means 90% reduction of our emissions. So that's really good for our ESG strategy and good for the environment, to produce in a sustainable way food. As well, it will mean a new income stream. We expect, it's a sales contract that we close with Black Sea Oil and Gas, so we need to provide the feedstock, and for that we get an X amount per ton. And the revenues are expected at minimum at least 3 to 3.5 million euros per year. And that will significantly change, if you would call it dependency on milk, let's say. Now we are more or less, our incomes for 90% depends on the sale of milk. And then the sale of milk will drop to approx, the dependency, well, let's say, will drop to approx 50%. And the compost and the biomethane production will be the other 50%. So then we have a significantly more diversified business model than we have today. The compost plant is just started to be operational. And the biomethane production, currently the permitting, etc., starts to, we are currently busy with the permitting, acquiring land and all these kind of things. And we expect to execute in 2 or 2.5 years. Of course, some things need to be done, especially on the legislative part in Romania. Romania is the only country in the EU where you cannot, up to today, inject green gas into the grid, but the government had, but we need to see, of course, what's going on with the elections at the moment. But at least the current government had new legislation under under analysis on a consultation in April, May, as well as the strategy of the Romanian government is from 2030 to have 5% of green or of biomethane injected into the grid, and in 2050 10%. So we see new developments there, as well as we saw Heineken and MG in Romania also announced that they would also like to invest in biomethane production. So how would it look? By the end of 2027, 2028, then we have 4 milk producing farms, and we have 1 young stock farm. It means over 100 million liters production per day, which means the largest milk producer in all of Europe. Yes, okay, the Straja, I just mentioned the farm already. So what will it look like? We have, and the compost operational, so we have a more diversified business model. I will go to the scenarios, if it works. No. Yeah, so we have the scenarios here already. Currently we are in scenario 3, between scenario 3 and 4. Those scenarios, they don't include yet the biomethane production. So we have now our doubling strategy by the end of 2027. Next year we will present our strategy till 2030, and that will include also the biomethane production, as well as 1 or 2 M&As that we are planning to do in the coming years. So you can imagine if those scenarios are included in those scenarios or those investments, we will go to scenario 4 or scenario 5, let's say, in the positive way. So yeah, I tried to stick in the time. That was the short presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, Peter. Thank you for the presentation. We have a couple of questions for the online segment. Do you think you can still reach the budget for 2024?
It will be a bit of challenging, and it's mainly due to the fact, although I think we will come close to the budget estimated. I saw the results for October, and this is already a significant improvement than for the previous month of September. Anyway, we always set our budget ambitious, so it's really a target. But mainly we had this heat wave from half of May till mid of September, which was way longer than we had last year, and it had a significant influence on the liters of milk produced. I think in the end we will produce. We could have produced more, let's say 4 to 5 million liters more. That's almost 1 month of 1 extra month of milk production, as well. As that has an effect, our prices built up from a fixed price and a bonus price with your fat and protein. And of course, when you have this heat wave, it has also an effect on the fat and protein, and automatically you receive a lower bonus. So I expect that we will come close, but okay, there could be a variation of approximately, I don't know, 10% or so.
Thank you. Also, why did the financial expenses increase in third quarter?
We had several. Let me think quick. We had sorry, one more time. Why the financial expenses increased?
Yes.
Yeah, we had first of all we had already a 5% increase for raw materials. That was a main issue to that, and I don't know so much. Yes, I think that was the main reason. Yeah. And
how do you plan to finance the proposed expansion plan?
Sorry?
How do you plan to finance the proposed expansion plan?
The expansion plan. So we have the Straja project. Of course, it's financed by the Exim Bank for 9.2 million euros, and we have, of course, 20% own contribution that is settled. The compost we financed with internal resources, and the biomethane. It's only it's a sales contract, so there we don't need to do any investment. Okay, maybe some investments in trucks or these kind of equipment for transportation, and of course the M&A that could be that we will make use of the capital markets.
Thank you a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Peter, one question from me. Welcome back, and congrats for how you've communicated during the whole year. So you've got a fabulous energy all the time.
It's almost over, but.
You received like 4 or 5 prizes last night at Gala Arir 2024. So, Peter, let's talk about the milk prices because you're a fast-growing business, you're integrated, but a good or a bad quarter may ultimately come down to the milk prices. So, do you have any projections about 2025, and do you somehow hedge against the volatility?
On the milk price, we see already, of course, we saw a huge volatility this year on the milk price, especially in the first quarter. We had a decrease of over 20% in milk price, and the second quarter it reduced to 10%. And still our milk price for the whole 9 months, let's say, based on our internal milk price, what we received, we had a reduction of 4.9%. So we are still not there yet on the milk price level, of the level of milk price that we had the year before. But what I can say is, especially in the last couple of months, we saw a significant increase in milk price, and we know already, at least including January, that we will see a further steps increase in milk price. Also, we saw a bit on the long term that Denmark just closed an agricultural agreement with their farmers, so they need to increase more in forestry, etc., and that means automatically also a reduction in number of animals, which will lead to a reduction in milk production. The Netherlands, another exporting country of milk, will also reduce its dairy industry, which is already happening. So especially on the long term, we estimate that the milk price will remain on a more higher level, let's say, more on the level that we are today. Of course, at least till April, we expect slow further increases, and then, of course, as always happens during the summer period, we will see some decreases in the milk price because the demand is lower in the summer.
Peter, one last question, I promise. You've been so bullish about your companies, about the stock. The price is up about 20% this year, but it has been moving in a tight range. Do you foresee a breakout in 2025 with all the plans that you just showed us?
No, of course, with the main investments and the money and investment are allocated. So we need to be a bit patient. We need to execute now in the coming 2 years. The construction needs to be done. That is first the Straja farm, where of course we have a small delay. Where we have a small delay, but especially the compost is finalized, so we now just need to execute to operate the plant, and then it will generate some incomes next year, but the main part, or the 7,000 tons of production that we can fully sell it outside of the group, that I think it will be the year after. And of course what will significantly change is the biomethane production. So the main explosion in the share price I expect in approximately 2 years. But of course, we have all seen the analyst reports, etc., which are somewhere between 1.78 and 1.86, but now I really don't from my head. So of course we are a bit undervaluated. Also to date was a message clear from the investors that they expected higher results. We are down with 4%. But I think with all the investments that we are currently doing, that you could see a clear explosion to the trillion, let's say. That's the end, the goal in the coming years. But we are far from there, so I should not be arrogant. And but no, I think you will see a clear strategy because we expect stable milk price. We will significantly increase milk production, especially also on the Appold farm. At the moment we produce 70,000 liters, that we should increase to 100,000 liters plus 100,000 liters of the Straja farm, and those other 2 projects. Then the outlook is quite good.
Thank you so much, Peter, and we hope to see you again.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.